Supply chain profitability, transportation, and infrastructure. Hello, everyone. In this presentation, I will discuss how product levels, managerial decision making, transportation modes, and infrastructure all influence supply chain performance and profitability. Supply chains are critical to how businesses deliver products and services efficiently while remaining competitive and profitable. Companies must balance inventory levels, transportation decisions, forecasting, and infrastructure investments to meet customer demand while controlling costs. This presentation will first explain how product levels impact profits. Then I will discuss several managerial levers organizations use to improve profitability. Next, I will review the major transportation modes used in supply chains and describe when each mode is most effective. Finally, I will examine how infrastructure such as ports, highways, airports, rail systems, and warehouses affects transportation speed, reliability, and overall supply chain efficiency. Impact of product levels on profits. Overstocking, understocking, and optimal inventory. Inventory levels have a major influence on supply chain profitability because they directly affect customer satisfaction, operating costs, and cash flow. When companies overstock inventory, they carry more products than needed to meet customer demand. Overstocking increases holding costs such as warehousing, insurance, labor, utilities, and product obsolescence. Excess inventory also ties up working capital that could otherwise be used for investments or operational improvements. Retailers often experience this problem after seasonal demand declines. For example, clothing retailers may be forced to heavily discount unsold winter inventory after the holiday season, reducing overall profit margins. Understocking creates the opposite problem. When inventory levels are too low, organizations experience stockouts, delayed orders, and lost sales opportunities. Customers may switch to competitors if products are unavailable. Understocking can also damage customer loyalty and brand reputation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many industries experienced shortages because supply chains could not keep pace with demand increases and transportation disruptions. The most effective strategy is maintaining optimal inventory levels. Optimal inventory balances customer service with cost efficiency by ensuring enough product is available without creating excessive carrying costs. Companies use forecasting systems, historical demand data, and inventory management technology to achieve this balance. Amazon is a strong example of effective inventory optimization. Amazon uses advanced forecasting systems and regional fulfillment centers to position products closer to customers. This strategy reduces delivery times while controlling storage and transportation costs. Managerial levers to improve supply chain profitability. Demand forecasting and lead time reduction. Managers use several supply chain levers to improve profitability and operational performance. One of the most important is demand forecasting. Demand forecasting uses historical data, market trends, seasonal patterns, and predictive analytics to estimate future customer demand. Accurate forecasting allows companies to better manage inventory levels, labor scheduling, transportation planning, and supplier coordination. Walmart is an example of a company that uses advanced forecasting systems supported by real-time sales data to maintain product availability across stores while minimizing excess inventory. However, forecasting also has trade-offs. Forecasts are never perfect, and inaccurate predictions can still lead to overstocking or stockouts. Forecasting systems also require significant investments in technology, data analysis, and employee training. Another important managerial lever is lead time reduction. Reducing lead times allows organizations to respond faster to changes in customer demand while lowering the need for large safety stock levels. Companies can reduce lead times by improving supplier relationships, streamlining production processes, and locating warehouses closer to customers. For example, FedEx and UPS rely on strategically located distribution hubs to reduce delivery times and improve responsiveness. The trade-off is that faster delivery systems often require transportation and infrastructure costs. Strategic sourcing and pricing. A third managerial lever is strategic sourcing. Companies improve profitability by selecting reliable suppliers, diversifying supply sources, and negotiating long-term contracts. Strategic sourcing helps organizations reduce disruption risks while maintaining stable pricing and product availability. Many organizations learned the importance of supplier diversification during the COVID-19 pandemic when dependence on single overseas suppliers caused severe shortages and delays. Companies that maintained multiple suppliers were often better positioned to continue operations during disruptions. The trade-off with supplier diversification is increased complexity. Managing multiple suppliers can increase administrative costs, quality control challenges, and communication requirements. Pricing strategies also influence supply chain profitability. Dynamic pricing allows companies to adjust prices based on demand, seasonality, and market conditions. Airlines frequently use dynamic pricing to maximize profitability during peak travel periods. The risk associated with aggressive pricing strategies is customer dissatisfaction. If customers believe pricing is unfair or inconsistent, companies may lose customer trust and loyalty. Overall, managers must balance service levels, operational flexibility, cost efficiency, and customer expectations when making supply chain decisions. Task transportation modes in a supply chain. Transportation modes. Transportation is one of the most important components of supply chain management because it directly affects delivery speed, transportation cost, and product availability. The four primary transportation modes are road, rail, air, and sea transportation. Road transportation is the most flexible transportation mode. Trucks are commonly used for regional and last-mile deliveries because they provide direct delivery to stores, warehouses, and customers. Road transportation works well for retail products, food distribution, and e-commerce deliveries. However, fuel costs, driver shortages, traffic congestion, and weather conditions can increase costs and delays. Rail transportation is cost-effective for moving large volumes of heavy goods over long distances. Industries such as agriculture, coal, chemicals, and automotive manufacturing commonly use rail systems. Rail transportation is less expensive than trucking but is generally slower and less flexible because it depends on rail infrastructure and schedules. Air transportation is the fastest transportation mode and is best suited for high-value or time-sensitive products such as medical supplies, electronics, and emergency shipments. Companies like FedEx rely heavily on air transportation to support overnight delivery services. The major disadvantage of air transportation is cost, because it is significantly more expensive than other transportation methods. Sea transportation is commonly used for international trade and bulk shipments. Ocean freight is highly cost-effective for transporting large quantities of products such as raw materials, automobiles, and consumer goods. However, sea transportation is much slower and can be affected by port congestion, customs delays, and weather disruptions. Role of infrastructure in transportation. Infrastructure and supply chain efficiency. Infrastructure plays a major role in determining transportation speed, reliability, and cost efficiency throughout supply chains. Infrastructure includes highways, bridges, ports, airports, rail systems, warehouses, and distribution centers. Efficient infrastructure improves product movement, reduces transportation delays, and lowers operating costs. For example, modern highways and intermodal transportation hubs allow companies to move freight quickly between trucks, rail systems, ports, and warehouses. Warehousing infrastructure also improves inventory visibility and order fulfillment speed. One example of infrastructure enabling supply chain efficiency is the expansion of major distribution hubs near large metropolitan areas. Amazon has invested heavily in regional fulfillment centers and transportation infrastructure to support rapid, same-day and next-day delivery services. Infrastructure limitations can also create major supply chain disruptions. During the COVID-19 pandemic, congestion at major ports such as the Port of Los Angeles created shipping delays, product shortages, and increased transportation costs across multiple industries. Limited port capacity, labor shortages, and container imbalances slowed product movement throughout global supply chains. Poor infrastructure conditions such as damaged roads, outdated rail systems, or limited airport capacity can also increase maintenance costs, delivery delays, and operational inefficiencies. Because of this, governments and private organizations continue investing in transportation infrastructure to improve supply chain resilience and economic performance. In conclusion, supply chain profitability depends on effectively balancing inventory levels, managerial decisions, transportation strategies, and infrastructure investments. Overstocking increases holding costs while understocking creates shortages and lost sales opportunities. Managers improve profitability by using forecasting systems, reducing lead times, diversifying suppliers, and implementing strategic pricing methods. Transportation mode selection also affects delivery speed, flexibility, and operational costs, while infrastructure directly influences supply chain reliability and efficiency. Organizations that successfully integrate these elements are better positioned to reduce costs, improve customer satisfaction, and remain competitive in today's global marketplace. Thank you for watching my presentation. References: